on, you guys.
Yeah, Dave!
A bigger deal than that. Come on. All right. That's it, yeah. All right, give yourselves a hand for coming out and seeing live comedy tonight. It's an important thing. TV nowadays, they have all these non-reality shows, and you actually get to see something real happen. You get to see people in the flesh. Like Tom said earlier, make sure you have your phones off, please. Table talk to a minimum. Restrooms are out there alongside the bar, and there's a bunch upstairs. The waitress will be coming around. In case of a fire, run like hell in that direction. So, without any further ado, you know, I just probably noticed I have this really awesome handlebar mustache. Yeah, right. But you know, it's kind of hard having one of these things because there's such a negative stereotype about mustaches. I went on this blind date, met this gal at a restaurant, going to meet her, and she looks at me and she says, "I like my men clean shaven." "I like my women clean shaven. What are we going to do about that?" I just can't stand that hairy underarm thing. But you know, I mean, it's not like I'm a 70s porn star or, you know, the Pringles guy, love child. And I've never tied a fair maiden to the railroad tracks. Maybe a headboard or a bedpost, but never the railroad tracks. You know, this last summer, my life just came grinding to a halt. I was out of work, out of money, and my wife would have had her way. I would have been out of the house. She said, "You know, you got to get some help. You got to get some help." So I went to see the doctor, did a bunch of, you know, tests and writing and this and that, and interviewed me and a bunch of family members, and came back to me and said, "Dave, you have adult attention deficit disorder, ADD." Yep. I was like, how come I can't have something more socially acceptable like alcoholism? Those people, they have clubs. They lose their house, lose their job, end up on the street. Somebody comes along and brings them off to a treatment center. I lose my job because I kept losing my keys or didn't understand the directions or failed to get out of bed. They just tell me, "What, are you lazy?" Okay, you know, so, you know, you kind of wonder, you know, a lot of people have heard of it, and I said, "Well, Doc, what is this ADD, attention deficit disorder?" He said, "Well, it's kind of like this. In your brain, it's like you have the Three Stooges and Albert Einstein all trying to get out of a burning building at the same time. It's not always the smartest idea that gets out first." You know, and a lot of people ask about treatments, you know, medicines and this and that. Somebody asked me about acupuncture. Have you tried acupuncture for ADD? It's like, well, if you count my wife poking me in the butt with a sharp stick to get me off the couch, maybe I have tried acupuncture. And, you know, they want to put me on meds, and there's a lot of stuff in the news about these meds. They're really abused by college kids and all this stuff. And I said, "Are these safe? Are these even safe?" And he said, "Well, as long as you don't get drunk and let the captain of the football team bash your head in, you'll be fine." So, you know, kind of putting those two things together, I guess I have to give up watching the Vikings too, huh? It's kind of the same sensation. Thank you. Thank you for... But you know, when I was growing up, they didn't have ADD. You know, instead they had other acronyms like SFK, stupid fat kid. DWK, that weird kid. But it's like the one that hit, the one that stuck, was LAZY. So, you know, I kind of, it's hard growing up lazy, because, you know, right away people say, "Well, maybe it was the way you were brought up. What's your family life like, you know?" Oh, the only time my mom ever talked to me about sharing was when she was out of cigarettes. And I didn't realize orange juice was a drink all in of itself until I was 14. It was called a mix. But I did learn young not to talk bad about strippers and hookers, because they usually came from abusive and broken homes. Just ask my sister. Thank you. You guys are waking up. There you go. But you know, it's hard being growing up lazy because, you know, you find yourself, you get excited when events are canceled. And, you know, when given a choice between a blind date and a nap, you take the nap. And I found myself doing colors, whites, and dishes all in the same load. But, you know, as I grew older, and, you know, I had this idea that I was lazy and all this stuff, and then one day the wife was getting on me about all the unfinished projects, dirty dishes, the clothes not being folded, the tree that fell through the roof this winter and the branches are still hanging from the ceiling. She said, "How can you live like this? What, are you lazy?" I said, "No, I'm not lazy. I figured it out. I'm adaptable. This stuff just doesn't bother me." I think that, you know, ADD must be the next step in human development, because if we all become adaptable, we're not going to care about pollution. We're not going to care about the ice caps melting, the polar bears drowning, plastic bags blowing into the trees. I think it's the next thing coming up. So, but I don't normally talk about politics. But I got to say that Obama should have picked somebody better than William Shatner to be a speech coach. If you just trust the government with your health care, everything will be better. But I heard he got rid of Bill and he's going to hire Bill Cosby. So, you know, and if you just, you know what? I don't know how to do it, Bill. It was a good idea. See, that was that whole Three Stooges Albert Einstein thing. Good idea.
Way to catch it.
So, without further ado, I would really like to bring up your first comedian.
Ooh, yeah, I don't care who it is, it's gonna rock.
Yeah.
I hope that's not a comparison thing.
No.
Compare and contrast kind of thing, you know?
No, that's later.
In fact, of all